Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, look at Tyson! Haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to start your engines for the Beerbox 120, sponsored by Sid Keshishian, here by the Triple Bypass League, brought to you by myself, James Parfitt. I'm going to be alongside Bradley Dalton once again here this evening on this fine Sunday, like we haven't seen each other for absolutely ages, and it's live from Nashville Superspeedway. Well, guys, it's been a very eventful time here on the Triple Bypass League, and we'll have a look back at last week's recap as these guys tackle on. Let's see what happened.
On March 10th, 2024, the Triple Bypass Gen 4 Series roared into action at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for an exhilarating 32-lap showdown. With high stakes and intense competition, drivers pushed their limits on the demanding track. The race was sponsored by Al Corey and his Canadian Tire livery, and brought to us live by our friends at JPBroadcasting. As the green flag dropped, pole sitter Sexy Waltrip hit the throttle, eager to claim victory. However, Chad Bear had other plans, surging ahead in turn 1 to get in front of the pack, and went on to dominate the race. The number 91 of Bear showcased remarkable skill, leading all 32 laps, while behind him, Sexy Waltrip fought hard to track Bear down, but ultimately settled for a respectable second place. Meanwhile, Ben Harcum in the 78 car also delivered a stellar performance, steadily climbing through the ranks to secure a solid third-place finish. Brad Kress and Dustin Barton rounded out the top 5, showcasing their talents amidst fierce competition. With just one leader and no lead changes, this race was a testament to Bear's exceptional exceptional driving, setting the fastest lap with a blistering time of 1:21.48. Bear left his competitors in awe of his speed and skill. As the checkered flag waved, Chad Bear emerged victorious, claiming the top spot on the podium and earning more valuable points in the Triple Bypass Gen 4 Series. With thrilling action from start to finish, this race was a true spectacle for motorsport fans everywhere. We hope you enjoyed this Triple Bypass Gen 4 Series recap. We'll see you next time.
Okay, guys, that was last week's recap from Mosport, or Canadian Motor Tyre Park. Let's bring you up to date with where we're at, the scores here at the moment. It looks like this. After 10 rounds of 14, 2 drop weeks have been applied. It is Carl Gretsch out in front on 366 with Ben Harcum on 364. 2 points between them going into the final 4 rounds. And we've got Matthew Perezzini on 342 with Dustin Barton on 338. Al Corey on 329, Riot Hyatt on 319, Brad Kress on 315, Chad Bear on 313, Jason Benson on 312, and Cameron Kane on 291. You've heard me waffle on long enough now. Let's bring in Brad into the booth. Brad, hello dear sir, how are you? I haven't spoken to you for ages.
Hello, James. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've heard your voice. It's been something I've missed. I know your voice is loved a lot by a lot of people, myself included. So I'm glad to hear your voice yet again today, my friend.
Yeah, once more into the breach, Captain, we go here, Brad, and it's been an interesting day for us, especially up here in the booth. You know, we've been on Boss's broadcast number 4 for me, 5 for you, I believe. So it's been a hard one, but now we get to do something that I think you can safely say that we both enjoy, right? Triple bypass at Nashville Superspeedway, 120 laps of epic racing, you know, concrete circuit on a D-shaped oval with 14 degrees in turns 1 to 4, 9 degrees front stretch, 6 degrees in the back stretch. What can we expect from Nashville Superspeedway?
I think we expect plenty of action coming through. Of course, you and me did a broadcast at Nashville with Triple Bypass on Thursday night, so it seems only appropriate that for Sunday, we round out and get ready to start a long, grueling work week with some nice, relaxing Nashville Superspeedway here. And this is a track, this is a league that I have personally fallen in love with. I will tell you right now, James, if you ever wonder if I stopped commentating for you and you wonder where I went, it's probably racing with these guys. It's an awesome community. I like interacting with them. I interact with them on their Discord regularly during the week, and it's really, really cool to just watch these guys race. They have clean races. They have fun races. Everybody's got some personality, even though I do have some beef to settle real quick while we're getting qualifying sorted out. Matt Perezzini with the worst opinion I've ever heard, saying Dr. Pepper is terrible. And I am going to go ahead and just tell him that that is the worst opinion I've ever had someone feel free to say out loud.
Well, I better not agree with him then. Yeah, I'm not a lover of it, Brad. I'm sorry, dude. Not my thing.
Yeah, you're British, so I kind of can't say anything because, like, you all have different pops, different setups, different configurations of things. I can't say a lot. Here in the States, we have the good soda.
You can't say I'm British. That's racist, according to a gentleman I met in the iRacing lobby the other day, who I called an American. And he told me it was racist. And I said, "Are you American?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Okay." And that was the end of that conversation, to be honest. But there we go. Let's go into the grid. Chad Bear in first, Ben Harcum second, Carl Gretsch in third, Tyler Merritt in fourth, John Creedler in fifth, Cameron Kane sixth, Perezzini seventh, Jason Benson eighth, Brad Kress in ninth, Al Corey 10th, Carl St. John in 11th, and Dustin Barton down there in 12th place. Matt Harmon, Oliver Turan, Ward Fisher, John Crutchley, and Derek Cat is at the back. Don't forget, guys, as well, today's sponsor is Mr. Sid Keshishian. Once more, Sid cannot be here on a sponsored evening that he has sponsored with us up here on the JPB YouTube channel. But don't forget, you can get yourselves involved. 5 nights of racing, Gen 4 Sunday, late models Tuesday, Wednesday's road racing, Thursday's Xfinity, Friday is road racing. All series, 14 seasons. The session opens at 8:15 ET, qualified at 9. Guaranteed heartbreaking from racing, head over to triplebypassracing.com and get yourselves involved. So big shout out to them and for Sid, who has brought you this wonderful evening of racing. What, in general, Brad, we were here on Thursday, right? And we were trying to get me on the old NASCAR experience at Nashville. We failed absolutely miserably, to be honest with you. But I did look today, and they're still on sale. Just putting it out there. So, you can still get yourself involved if you want to go to Nashville, Brad, and come and do some NASCAR racing with me.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone wants to donate there in YouTube chat, and then James will just simply fly out, crash with me, and him will road trip the 3-hour drive down to Nashville, and we'll drive. So I'm just saying, if you donate enough, you could get both of us on a track. It's pretty cool.
I know.
It'd be pretty worth it.
NASCAR experience. Don't forget, if you are here, guys, like, subscribe, turn on the bell to do all that fancy jazz as well. Let us know that you are in YouTube chat. I'm sure Cora's sitting in there somewhere, secretly hiding in the shadows, stalking away as Cora Benson, cheering on her man, y'all. As Jason is in here in 7th place. There he is in that number 42 machine. We're going to be up and running very shortly here for what will be some absolute incredible racing. They're coming around turn 3, just off the D at the moment, before they go down onto that D-shaped part of the circuit. I didn't realise that Nashville was actually owned by Speedway Motorsports. I actually thought this was one of the ones were owned by NASCAR, but we'll get into that in a very brief minute. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, it's starting time, and we are going to be racing here once more. Chad Baird, Carl Gretsch, Ben Harkham, Tyler Merritt, John Creedler, all break away, but Chad Baird's done the thing he needed to do here, Brad. He got out in front. He's done an absolutely stellar job, and he's breaking away with Carl Gretsch and Ben Harkham right behind him.
Yeah, he had one job on that start, and that was to get away and get going, and that is exactly what Chad Baird did. He's gone, he's out, he's away, he's saying goodbye, see ya, and he is trying to just go ahead and run away with this as fast as he can. And honestly, can you blame him? Because if he gets up front, he stays up front, he's going to have a very, very simple evening here with 120 laps coming out.
Yeah, the only trouble is that it's not the fact that they've got 120. It's the fact of what we're running on. You know, if I was sitting there looking at asphalt, or I was looking at something other than that, I'm looking at concrete. The big tyre burner, the big one that shreds tyres as easy as, look at them, they're like a cheese grater. You know, it's going to be tough for these guys. They've got 3 sets of tyres in the bits, obviously one fast repair as well, fixed setup here, so don't forget that once again. But it's concrete. It's concrete. What are they going to do on tyres?
It's going to be rough. I will give you that one. It's going to be a little rough for them, but they need to make it work. They need to just know what they're doing. And to be frank, these drivers should know what they're doing. Of course, the sister track to Nashville, anyone who is familiar with the beauty of NASCAR should be able to identify the sister track at Dover, Delaware, and knowing the concrete racing surface. And oh, Kyle Gretsch, that was not a very sexy Waltrip move, tagging the wall there down the main straight.
Yeah, he did. He kind of had a little bit of a moment there, did Carl Gretsch. Brad Crest from the Big Ridge Boys Racing Team. Never heard of them. As he's there in that number 9 machine with Jason Dan Benson. Al Corey on the inside in the 45. Al, the resident Canadian-American, with Dustin Barton on the outside, Matt Harmon, Oliver Turan there. Barton's just gone and pumped the wall on the outside. That's allowed Nodge to get through. And unfortunately for Dustin Barton, there's a wall there, mate.
Yeah, Dustin Barton having a not so fun time there. And you know, this track is called the Nashville Superspeedway, and it's kind of unique in that regard that it is just 1 1/3 mile, but it does drive kind of like a super speedway in that regard. You have to watch draft. You have to kind of get together and go. And for our 17 drivers on track right now, I mean, they're doing a pretty good job of just holding it together, keeping it moving here as we go through. We're lap 6 of 120, and you know, other than a couple of wall taps on the main stretch, which I think is just these guys shaking out the nerves, they've gotten pretty comfortable, and they're still going through here, and we still have a 3-way fight for the lead right now.
Yeah, we do. Who would have thought after 6 laps we would have battle throughout the field? We've got Chad Baird, Ben Harkham, Tyler Merritt, Carl Gretsch, Cameron Kane, then Matt Perezzini in the front group, and then we go back to John Creedler there as we see a low runner under the apron. Don't make us have this conversation before, Mr. Carl St. John. Once again, as we've been there already, we spent most of probably Thursday talking about that, Brad. But I think for now, it's got to be back up front as Chad Bear just looks like he's lost 2 places there. One to Tyler Thumbstick Merritt, of course, if you're wondering why. Tyler is on a controller, everybody, and that is the number 38 machine. I tried that the other day at Bristol, and I will say now, yeah, didn't do that. Don't do that. That's insane. Maybe larger circuits, definitely, but Bristol, no, not on a controller.
Yeah, and of course it is Bristol weekend, so yeah. I used to race on a controller when I first started in iRacing. I used to run the unranked series on a laptop that hardly worked, that I couldn't unplug from a wall. I had to leave it plugged in at all times, even if I was just typing up a little Word document for a report for college. But when I wasn't doing that, I would turn on iRacing on the lowest possible graphics and run it on a controller. I did that for about the first 6 months of my iRacing career, about once or twice a week.
Jesus. I was on a steering wheel with no force feedback. Cost me like 20 quid. And it only had 2 pedals. So there we go. That was it. That was my foray into iRacing there. Never on a controller. Not like Thumbstick Merritt here, who has taken on a controller. I've never been on a controller. As I say, I did try it the other day at Bristol. Partly because I wanted to have a look at something, and my son has been a little rascal because I have to borrow his steering wheel, and he wouldn't lend it to me. He was like, "Dad, I'm driving." I was like, "Give me a wheel." He was like, "Nope, not having it." So there we go. Bless my little boy. But Matt Perezzini in the 24 machine, looking just clearing Cameron Kane.
Yeah, Matt Perezzini looks like he probably drank some Dr. Pepper, or he's trying to run away from it as he's going there down the inside around Cameron Kane. Nashville Superspeedway is a track that traditionally you can kind of make any line work that you want here. You can see the different grooves in the track. You're going to see most people kind of take that traditional high-low high line, but you can kind of run the midline, you can run the high line, and most of the time it's going to work if you're comfortable with it and if your car's set up right for it. So I'm curious to see how these guys run, but they seem, for the most part, James, to be single file here through.
Yeah, I think the problem is in the fact that they're going to be running double file. It's the fact that they're in a fixed setup machine. There's not a whole lot they can do. You know, that you can change the steering offset, and that's about it, I think. Plus brake bias, maybe backwards and forwards, and the steering angle. But there isn't anything else you can do on them. And it's a kind of, you sit back earlier on and you said the rain is the natural equalizer. Well, I also believe that having a fixed setup is quite a good equalizer as well. It does separate the men from the boys, and people who can drive and people who just drive because of the setup they've got.
See, I kind of disagree with that, because sometimes it genuinely...
See, that's the thing. I knew you would, Brad.
Yeah, we've worked together enough, James. You know where my opinions stand on certain things, but the thing is, sometimes drivers have different preferences of how they run cars. Some people want their cars to be more loose. Some people want their cars to be more tight. They have their preferences of what they run. So, you know, for example, me, I like a car that's going to be loose on entry, tight on exit. As soon as I put the power down, I want it to go where I want it to go. But I want to be able, if I need to make, you know, some sort of a correction on entry, have that little bit of play to do so. So my car is going to set up slightly different than, say, your car. Because I'm sure, James, you probably like your car to be nice and tidy and do what you want it to do. So you want a tighter car through. So,
I do, yeah.
You know,
the car's got to go where I want it, especially if I'm running the outside line at Bristol, which is my favoured line. It wasn't obviously on the trucks that I just watched from yesterday. It wasn't their favourite line. They were the base, but the top line did come in eventually. But if I'm running trucks like I have been for most of the week, I think I want them. It's got to go around Bristol. I've got to be able to lift off, get it to a point, bang, full throttle it and turn, because I can't have it any other way at such a short speed, like a short track like Bristol is. You know, you might get away with it here at Nashville, where you can get it a little bit loose on entry, but you've got to make sure that you've still got that rotation to carry the speed coming out of the corners.
Yeah, that is true, and I think some of it too just comes down to the driver preference and your driving style, because even in NASCAR, every driver has a slightly different driving style that they have and run and get used to. And, you know, my driving style is going to be different from everyone else's, and your driving style is going to be different from mine. So that's where the setups can really get interesting. But then I also dislike open setups because it creates a whole nother layer of problems to think about. Okay, well, my car is doing this thing. Well, what if I change this? Well, now it's going to cause this problem. And sometimes you don't want to think about it. You just want to get behind the wheel and drive. And that's where fixed setups come in handy. And iRacing has done very good that every single track has a fixed setup that will generally work for it. That generally you can load that fixed setup and everybody can run similar times and similar pace. But you're still going to see advantages in time in those open setup classes. So it's a very back and forth thing. I personally do like open setups, but there is a place for fixed setups where sometimes guys just want to get in and drive. They don't want to spend the week preparing for that race of testing. Okay, well, what if I change this bias and this shock and change this damper and this torque and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I think what you've just said, I've more listened to the blah, 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 blah. Because you are right, it can get too overcomplicated unless you're a builder and you know what you're doing. Just go and load a fixed or a baseline. You know what I mean? Change the steering angle offset, change your brake bias, change it to 16 degrees so you can get the rotation through the wheels without scrubbing too much of the tyres off. Do all that, because that's probably about all you need, to be honest. And the rest of it is throttle control, line control, and how you control your exits on the throttle. And other than that, yeah, I wouldn't worry about the rest of it, Brad. I don't know about you.
Yeah, and I will say that open setups are for people that are much more advanced in the iRacing field. That's for the people that are running, you know, the Coke series, the high-end, high-stakes, high-money series. If you're in a league like Triple Bypass where you're here to have fun, have friends, and just hang out with people, really, these guys are genuine friends. That's the thing, too. It's not like these guys, they're racing for points, they're racing for wins, but they're also friends. They talk a lot. They talk during the week, you know. Like I said, I chat with them during the week in Discord about different things, and, you know, we banter back and forth with them and joke, and so these guys just want to race. They don't care about taking the time and calculating the setups and doing this, that, and the other. They want to sit down and race. So on a series like this, just load the setup that iRacing gives you and you'll be fine. The guys may have a preference here and there, but 99% of the time, it is going to be load the setup and you're going to be okay for the most part.
I agree. These guys settling in at the moment. We're just knocking off laps once more here as we get back up front with Ben Harkham and Mr. Thumbsticks himself and Chad Bear, your top three here. 22 out of 120. What do we reckon on green flag pit stops on tyres, Brad? Because obviously 29.66 has been Harkham's best, but a 30.7 was Harkham's last. Do we think tyres, what would you say? 3 sets they've got, you know, they could separate them, couldn't they? 30, 30, 30.
Yeah, they could, and I wouldn't blame them a bit, honestly. I was just kind of looking at that, and remember, Thumbsticks won this race Thursday night in the Xfinity Series, so he is one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. Whatever Tyler Merritt does, if you're a driver right now on the track, you're one of the other 16 drivers, 17 drivers on the track, whatever Tyler Merritt does, you need to respond to. So if Tyler Merritt goes in the pits and you're Kyle Gresh, you should dive in right behind him. If Tyler Merritt goes in the pits and you're Ben Harkham, you need to pit the next lap, because he is going to be one that you need to keep your eyes on, because he knows how to win at this track. He's already done it once in the past 5 days. So, but yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't do 30, 30, 30, 30 if you have the 4 sets of tires, and we know tires get chewed up by the concrete around here.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Anything concrete based, you know, concrete in the nature and the makeup obviously is always going to be a bit of a tire killer, isn't it? Really, it's not the same as if you're at certain super speedways. I know they've got Nashville down as a super speedway, but at the end of the day, it's not a Daytona. It's not full flat. They will have to lift a little bit. We had this discussion on Thursday as well, didn't we, about the fact that they've got to lift. Is it classed as a super speedway when you generally have super speedways full flats?
Yeah, it's like the name Nashville Superspeedway sits really well as we watch this battle right here for the lead that's becoming a 3-wide situation very, very quickly here as Tyler Merritt, Ben Harkham, and Chad Bear are really, really pushing each other. Of course, Thumbstick's now up in the lead here, but Ben Harkham, Chad Bear side by side right behind him. And again, Thumbsticks drops to that apron. I have my opinions on it, but he slid a bit there. Ben Harkham up the inside. Can Ben Harkham make that pass happen? He's going to try. And look at this. They might be 3 wide coming off the corner exit. 1, 2, and 3 side by side. Here we go. Chad Bear, Ben Harkham going through, and now they settle things back in. But Mr. Chad Bear trying to get that lead back around from Tyler Thumbsticks here and going around the inside as we watch Ben Harkham in 3rd place, who's just trying to find a place to put his car to find himself in the mix here. And there we go. They're going to snap it back around 3 wide again, James. Tell you what, this is the battle for the lead. You'd think it was lap 115, and it's just lap 28.
Yeah, I know. It seems weird that they're going so at it here. They're going to really chew up tyres. It looks like Thumbstick's backed out of that one, I've got to be honest, because I thought he was backing out to allow these guys to go. But then again, he's come straight back at Ben Harkham and gone straight through. So I'm guessing he wasn't backing out. But yeah, I don't know if that one... lap 30 would be the ideal way of battling here. I think I'd probably wait till, as you say, 115.
Yeah, but as race car drivers, they're going to race as hard as they can and let it go unless they think of something. Now, if you are that Mr. Ben Harkham there, I would personally just sit back, let these two run their tires out and just hang out for a minute. Let them go. If you can run a little bit long and pit a little bit later, you can set yourself up for a really, really good run here. And the way these guys are running, I'm not expecting a caution anywhere at all that I can see.
No, I can't see where it would come from. That's the thing. Even down here with Creedler and Carl St. Jean and Al Corey, they're running pretty clean themselves. There's a big enough gap between the two of them. All of the cars, actually. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Big enough gap between the 5 of them that basically there's nothing, in a weird way, we don't say this often in this league, but there's nothing happening because they're all gapped out around the racetrack, aren't they?
Yeah, this is the rarest situation in triple bypass that if something were to happen, it'd be from the top 3. Honestly, just kind of watching through, we're checking out here Al Corey running around, and then, you know, we've got everybody else that's just sort of settled in and comfortable in their places. Oh, and as I say that...
That was Carl St. John, nearly put it in the wall. So, well, he did put it in the wall in the end, but no caution out. So these guys in that mid-pack, Carl St. John now are trying to get past Brad Quest in front of him. Not being able to make it through this time, though, Brad. However, running tight to the yellow line there is old Kyle trying to get the job done.
Yeah, you know, do the best you can here around, and honestly, his car, if it likes to run that way, it likes to run that way, and if he's comfortable with it, I don't blame him. So we're just kind of watching here at the moment. Everybody's keeping each other very, very square and honest through that number 42 of Jason Benson trying to chase down Kyle St. John there, and you can see just how close they're hugging that yellow line. They're not dipping under it like the top 3 are, but they are running very, very close to it. And here we go. We're on board with Jason Benson, and he is going to try to sneak up the inside. Look at these Gen 4 cars, how they have a little bit of an angle to them. And of course, remember that even the straightaways here have a bit of banking, so the car is always leaned a little bit over. You're always giving it a little bit of steering input at all times as we go around the track here and go through.
Yeah, I do agree. It is the way they're set up. You can see that really. If we go into Carl St. John's cockpit, you'll be able to have a look at the back end of Jason Benson. And you want to look, he's a little bit too close now, isn't he? He wasn't that close just a minute ago. But you can see the way it is. It's high on one side, leans over to the left because it's naturally got to go left, right? So that's how it's all set up, ready to go, ready to pull that car around the left-hand bend here at Nashville Superspeedway. Once more on lap 35, we've not had one caution yet. And Bear, Merritt and Harkham lead the way out front with Carl Gretchen 4th.
And not a single caution. I don't even have any alerts of anyone, you know, bumping walls or anything crazy happening. It's been a very, very clean race. We've seen a couple of contacts on the super speedway of walls, but nothing that has really stood out to me as a big, oh gosh moment. Kyle St. John here getting around Mr. Jason Benson again. Now he doesn't. Now they're side by side coming down the main straight. And as they run up into one, he's going to try to slide it up high. He's going to hold the low line. And there we go. He's now cleared Jason Benson up further ahead here. This is Al Corey and Mr. Brad Kress. They're trying to run. This is the battle for P8 that is keeping very close. And then, of course, we've got the leaders up front as well, and it looks like something has happened with Tyler Merritt because he is in the pits, actually. So nothing's happened. He is just in for the start of some green flag pit stops.
Yeah, on lap 37. We did say 30, 30, 30. We're going to get him on 37 instead. Should give him 54. Nope, sorry, 74. On top of that, maybe around about 111, depending on how he gets on. But this is Brad Kress. Brad Kress and Al Corey, and also Cameron Kane is having a good old little ding dong with Matt Perezzini.
Yeah, Matt Perezzini, you can see that 24 is getting loose. The tires are starting to find the proverbial cliff that we talk about, and they have decided to dive off head first because going into the trial over there, he was absolutely wiggling around, but he's able to hold on to it. I'm curious to see how his car handles on the exit here at 2. He keeps it straight, but you can see just how much slower it seems like he is to Cameron Kane. They are coming out of 2 to keep that car under him.
Yeah, the only good thing for Tyler Merritt after his green flag stop, along with Dustin Barton, who's out at the moment, is he's come out in and around 11th and 12th, which is John Crutchley and also Matt Harmon. He's got a little bit of people to work with, I think, would be the question, because the last thing, as we said multiple times before, you don't want to be coming out on your own because otherwise you're going to struggle. Ben Harkham on the other end here as well. He's trying to chase down his championship leader and Carl Gretsch. Gretsch is in the green machine, Ben Harkham in the high rollers machine behind him, doing a great job there currently. So great action all the way around. Great fighting going on, and it's more sort of knocking off the laps positional time now, isn't it, really?
Yeah, really at this point, we've ran so long in the green, and these guys know it's going to stay green for a while, I think, barring anything wild happening. Of course, don't accuse me of a commentator's curse, please. I am just stating the facts. But as we knock off laps, they're closer to the end. That means the tires, they can keep tires and save tires and play it safe. And they know, the drivers are going to know where the point is, when they need to pit, what that pit delta is for when they've gotten too slow to stay out for it to make a difference. And again, I still think if you were in the position of Kyle Gresham, Ben Harkham, as soon as Tyler Merritt pulled off in the pits, as soon as Thumbstick said, you know what, I want a fresh set of tires, I would have went right with him. Yeah. And that is just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree on that one. But the problem is obviously, if they're not ready because they've saved tires, then they're going in burning a set for no reason. You know, Tyler obviously thought that there was going to be a caution. There's more in and around him now. Chad Bear was in, Cameron Kane's in, Brad Kress is coming, Carl St. Jean's in, Perezzini's in, Harmon's in, Fisher's in. So for Tyler Merritt, should be, technically, if he clears Ward, Fisher, Harmon and Perezzini, it should be very shortly that he'll be able to make up positions.
Yeah, and it looks like this is going to be the time, because here we go. We're on board with Ben Harkham. Ben Harkham is straight into the pits here, and you can see how slow the pit lane speed is compared to everything else that you do around this quote-unquote super speedway. We'll watch Ben Harkham here. Nice and slow down the pit lane, trudge into his pit box, hard on the brakes. Does he line it up? He does, and now you watch the car lift as he starts to get service. So he'll get the right side tires first. Of course, we don't see the pit crew because for some reason iRacing hasn't coded that in, but you could, but they haven't for performance reasons. I don't know, but you can see 4 tires on, splash of fuel, and he is right back out. And Ben Harkham is going to come out behind Tyler Merritt and behind Chad Bear. So he is coming out in a not so ideal spot, and you can see he's trying to get going here around that pit exit of 2. He comes up through the blue cone, and now he enters back on the track. He's got Matt Perezzini right behind him for company. Matt Perezzini goes high and around, or sorry, that is Cameron Kane. He's now got Matt Perezzini around as well, though, that he's got to keep an eye on as he slides up. Don't hit the wall, buddy, don't hit the wall. And I think he didn't, but yeah, so he should have pit way earlier than he did.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. I think the pit stop was vital, and some have left it probably a little bit later than they probably needed to. As you see Brad Kress going past Perezzini on your screen at the moment there, and Perezzini now one lap down with Fisher, Harmon, Creedler, Jean, Perezzini and Kress, Harcum and Kane. Merritt is the first one of who has pitted. Crutchley, Turan, Benson, Corey and Gretsch have not ventured into the pits either here, Brad. So are they leaving it a little bit later than we thought they would do?
They are, and again, I'm going to say it, not a good decision. If you are truly wanting to challenge through, you probably need to challenge off on Tyler Merritt and do what Tyler Merritt does, unless they think they can pull something on strategy and get away with it if they think Tyler Merritt's going to do an extra stop than them. And if he does, then they think that they can just hold him on pace alone, even though Thumbsticks is fast. But who knows? Ben Harcum here trying to battle.
There he is. Senna in the YouTube chat there, the number 48 machine of Crutchley moving up. He is, but he has got to pit. Everybody else behind him has pitted. Corey's just gone in. Can Crutchley go one more? He is. He's not going into the pits currently, but he's got Oliver Turan closing in. Merritt on a 29.5 last time out. Crutchley on a 31. To Merritt on a, what was Merritt on? 30.05. Crutchley on a 31.22. So not a massive difference. We'll see if pitting will be his friend today. No. To be honest, we think he's left it late, as Corey has. Benson's in. Corey's going to should be dropping down behind Harcum and a few others there. Kress, Perezzini. What about Creedler? He's going to go behind Creedler, St. John, Harmon as well. So at the moment, Crutchley and Gretsch a little bit later than everybody else.
Yeah, and again, I'm wondering if they're just trying to take it in. Maybe they're trying to just stop one time, but I'm also in my head trying to calculate what the fuel run would be. If they're trying to do like maybe 2 stops, but the last stop is just like a quick tire splash dash, and there we go. Naj is in. He knows he's left it for a while. I think he just wanted some time up front to hang out, but Kyle Gresh is still out, which I don't know, James. I really think that these guys who are running it long are not making the right call. Again, I'm not the race car driver, but sometimes I like to think I know what I'm calling when I see it.
I do have to agree with you as well. Turan's not been in. Bear's been in on Thor 39. Merritt's in 36. Gretsch is now not been in. Turan, who hasn't been in, has also just been passed by Tyler Merritt. So, Oliver Turan, you need to get your butt into the pit lane, and so does this man here as well, your leader.
Yeah, Kyle Gray, he might be listening to the broadcast. Into the pits he comes. So there we go, as he's in, and let's see where he comes out, because that's the part that I'm trying to calculate in my head, and I am not typically good at figuring that one out in NASCAR.
I reckon there. It's either going to be in front or just behind Ben Harcum. He's still trundling up the pit lane at the moment. His pit stops now. He's in the box. Looks like Harcum should get through if they're going on a 14-second stop. Cameron Kane might get through as well. Brad Kress, Creedler, Perezzini, St. Jean. He's going to be all the way down in 10th at least. What about 11th for Val Corey? Because they were technically where they were on the road. Corey has come out. And there's Carl Gretsch running around the infield. It's going to be close on the exit, but I think Gretsch might have just done enough to get in front of Mr. Corey, and he has done. And Corey and Gretsch back together on the racetrack, but just this time they're in 10th and 11th.
Yeah, but we'll see some good battles from them as it goes. Of course, Gresh is going to need to get those tires up and running. Al Corey's in a good spot. I heard a little tap of the wall there while we're riding on board with him on the exit of 4. as these guys are getting dangerously close to that wall. Naj Crutchley there in the number 48, the best number in NASCAR going around, and is continuing to just run his race and do what he can. Crutchley currently sitting in P14, the last car on the lead lap, but not far behind him is Thumbsticks Merritt, who's trying to make it 2 for 2 at Nashville Speedway here in Triple Bypass.
Yeah, but now Crutchley's on the newer tyres. He pitted on lap 49. So they're only 5 lap old tyres there. Merritt is on lap 36. Merritt, of course, was the first one in, so we're probably, if he's going to break it up, probably expect him in around about 72 to 75. That would probably be his best bet on pit stops. I would have thought. Just look at the pit laps there. You can see Merritt 36, Baird 39, Turan's not pitted, Harcum on 42, 40, 40, 42, 41. So apart from Merritt, they're all around that 40 mark. So that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, and looking at lap times, Merritt last lap 30.55, Naj Crutchley last lap 30.20. So Naj is pulling a little bit of time, but not enough that it's really catching my attention. The one that is catching my attention is Mr. Kyle Gresh, who ran a 29.98 last lap. So he has some good pace. We'll see if his strategy there of waiting very long to pit is going to work. I still think Tyler Merritt's going to try to make 2 more stops for the end of this race, and that I'm curious to see. If he does, if it works out for him.
Yeah. Be interested if he goes in on 72. That would be 72, then he's going to go in on 108. It's whether or not he's got possibly 2 more in there. So I think overall should be a 3-stop race, maybe what we're going to be looking at. As Tyler Merritt and Chad Bear are not very far apart here on lap 57 on the Beer Box 120. Give a shout out to today's sponsor, Mr. Sid Keshishian, again, who is not here. Poor old Sid. Missed another race that he sponsored again. And Sid Keshishian in the number 19 machine, who has sponsored today's race. So much love to him. So there we go. And now Tyler Merritt, leader on track. You can see just how fast Crutchley is. Last time out, Crutchley, who's in front of these, on a 35.9. Merritt on a 30.68. So not drastically slower, but slower enough to allow Crutchley to get through.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing at all for Crutchley to be able to get through. And now Crutchley just needs to stay pretty consistent here. Chad Bear trying to go around the inside of Thumbsticks, and it looks like he may have this set up very, very well. And he is going to get around the inside. He's going to slide that up, and it's a new leader, Chad Bear, as we hit the tri-oval across the start-finish straight. And you can see Chad Bear there holding that yellow line, forcing Tyler Merritt to go up the high line, and he's going to slide in, go single file, and we're halfway through this race now, officially, James, and these guys still no sign of them slowing down or stopping.
No, Oliver Turan not pitted. Still not pitted. I'm wondering what he's up to, this young man. I wonder if he's going to try and do a one-stopper. So if we're expecting that, he should be in very, very shortly, I think, to get that one stop under his belt, unless he's going to go for a lap 70, I guess.
I think lap 70 would be doable, and I don't know, though, because the thing is, he's in such a weird spot, and is that him into the pits now?
Yes, sir. Definitely is. Oliver Turan going to come trundling up the pit lane on lap 61. So he could still make it on a one-stop, but you're asking a lot of yourself.
I think that's exactly what he's about to do, James. I think he's going to say, okay, I'll run it to the end and not think about it, not worry about it, and just run it off to the end.
Yeah, and if you can do it, go for it. Let's see where he ends up here. But at the moment, Chad Bear and Tyler Merritt are half a second apart, and they've got a massive gap over the guys in front, just teetering on the edge of getting this young man lapped at John Crutchley. And for Crutchley, I can guarantee he's going to be running like a scolded dog there to try and make sure he doesn't get lapped, because the last thing he really wants is lapped on track, isn't it?
Yeah, because lapped on track just spells disaster. It spells basically, especially here at Nashville Superspeedway, and a race that is looking like it's going to go green to lap 120 with no issues. And as I say that, who is that sliding around? That is good old Matt Harmon sliding that car out of four, getting a little loose, and maybe a little bit of fatigue coming in here on this lap 64. These long green runs for some of these drivers, depending on their wheel setups, depending on how they feel, and especially, this time of night, it's 9:41 here on the East Coast. It may be a little bit of fatigue we start seeing that may cause something if somebody just has one little snap, one little moment that catches them off guard. But overall, you don't want to go a lap down on track because it is basically disaster if this race doesn't get a single caution.
Yeah, I don't, and the problem is as well, unless somebody does something silly, I don't think we're going to see a caution. That's my fear. And at the moment, Matt Harmon has got Chad Bear bearing down on him like an absolute lion, and Crutchley is trying to stay ahead on Merritt. That's just because he does not want to go a lap down running, does he, on track? So Crutchley's got to do what he's got to do and trying to escape. Kyle Gretsch is trying to catch up with Matt Perezzini. Perezzini's trying to get a hold of Creedler, who's down the road. So it's all settling down here on lap 66. And there's Kyle Gretsch and Matt Perezzini going to be together very soon, no doubt.
And Matt Perezzini, you can see the car wiggling on the exit of four. These Gen 4s tend, if they get a little loose, they'll do more than one little wiggle. It'll be a back forth. But again, you can see kind of the way the car is sliding. He's running it through, and here goes Kyle Gretsch around the inside here into the entrance of three, around that DuPont Chevrolet, and he is through there. Mr. Waltrip is, and gets around and should be able to clear this and hold this, I believe, on the exit of four, and he does down into the tri-oval. So Kyle Gretsch now up into 7th place, and he's got about 3 seconds he needs to make up to chase down John Creedler up in P6.
Yeah, it's going to be trying to go forward, isn't it? But it's 2.7 seconds up the road is Creedler, who's got Crest not too far up the road. But Perezzini and Gretsch, two gladiators really of this series. They're names that stand out quite a lot along with Crutchley and Corey. But I think it's normally Gretsch and Perezzini that would always pop up first in conversations about who's going to win or who do we think's going to win. But it looks like Kyle Gretsch might have the upper hand here.
Yeah, honestly, Kyle Gretsch, I was kind of expecting to be further up the field than he is right now. He's sitting P7, which again is not a bad position, but just knowing Kyle Gretsch, knowing his skill set, I was expecting a little bit further up. I thought this would be a good weekend for him to move forward, but he's kind of just relaxed here in P7, which again, not a bad thing. I think these drivers are just enjoying the sights and sounds of Music City here and just letting the engine sing, going around, continue to run laps. We lost Barton and we lost Cat at some point. Don't know what happened to them. So we've got 15 drivers running on track, 13 on the lead lap here. Creedler and Crane swapping positions, Gretsch and Kane swapping positions. Matt Perezzini has wrecked somewhere on the backstretch. I don't know exactly what happened to him, but I don't see a caution yet. We're lap 70 and 120.
Oh, just slaps out on his own. He's off the racing line. You can't really call a caution. Oh, no, hold on. Did he just go round again, trying to get back on track?
Yeah, he cooked the rear tires.
As we watch Matt Perezzini just doing a little bit of a ballet show all on his own, as we're still keeping going, as we're settling down on lap 71. I hope you've all had a very fabulous Sunday. Myself and Brad have had quite a long one today, but we're still here doing triple bypass. We're still watching these guys do an absolutely stellar job, and I'm sure there's still at least 2 pit stops in this race.
For most of these guys, I would say another 1 to 2 pit stops, yes, at least. However, it's Turin that I don't think is going to stop again. Oliver Turin, I don't think will stop because he's P14 where he started. Make that P13 as he goes through. And I just have a strong feeling that he's just going to run it to the end and see what he can get out of it. And wherever he finishes is where he finishes, because he started P14. Right now he's up a place. And hey, if he just doesn't pit, he runs consistent lap times, the world's his oyster, Bob's your uncle, whatever the saying is, and he will be quite comfortable with where he's at. We've got more cars into the pit, though, with Merritt. Thumbsticks is back in the pit, as well as Jason Benson is back in the pits again here.
Chad Bear's in as well. Merritt's in. St. Jean's in. Both of all of these guys will be dropping down the order as they go. Merritt again all the way down into 9th. Second green flag pit stop, 36.72. God, I must be good at maths today, Brad.
It's... I don't know what it is about your midnight math abilities, James, but you tend to really hit the spot. Especially considering you are a Englishman on NASCAR calculating pit cycles. And we all know the stereotype of Englishmen on NASCAR. And oh no, there is now a caution deployed.
Wow. Perezzini again.
You're wet. Oh!
He cooked up the tyres, didn't he, on his last soiree round, and he didn't go in and get them done. So unfortunately now he's cooked them again as they've gone round, but we're expecting people, I would have thought everybody should be diving into the pits who hasn't pitted to get onto the same lap, and people like Merritt, Bear, Kress, all the others that have taken their second stop are going to be kicking themselves about now.
Yeah, that is the danger of green flag pit stops. Is if something happens while you're in the middle of your pit cycle, it is just disaster for you. Somehow Tyler Merritt's going to find his way back up to the front here, and lucky for him. But, you know, Matt Perezzini should have been in the pit about 3 laps sooner than that happened. We watched him wiggle. We watched him wiggle so many times, James, and that car was not happy with the tire set it was on. Cameron Kane in YouTube chat says his iRacing crashed, which is why we lost Cameron Kane.
Been there, Cameron. Don't worry too much, mate. I did it the other day during a broadcast, so I feel you on that one. I just decided to go and, well, break itself. But yeah, Harkham, Gretsch, Creedler, Corey, Ward, Fisher, Crutchley. Merritt's already been in. If I was Touran, I'd be going in just to whack on another set of tyres purely because I can. Yeah, Perezzini needs to go in and get them off. And Jason Benson and haven't long changed tyres. So a relief for some, but Matt Harmon is not changing his rubber under his wheels there.
Yeah, I don't know what the thought is with Matt Harmon not changing tires. I'm curious to see what the decision thought process would be for Matt Harmon, just to see what the thought. But he's down on the apron here. Yeah, there we go. We've got more cars cycling through. There we go. Matt Harmon, good decision into the pits, along with the man of the night, Oliver Torn, who we were wondering what he was going to do. And then there we go, the number 24 going in as well, thankfully, to get them tires off. Matt Perezzini, thank you. Put on a fresh set of rubber.
Yeah, get in and get it done. I would. Get onto the same cycle as everybody else, and then it's just basically going to put you in a straight sprint to the end of the line. What is this showing up as Tyler Merritt? Did he just have... Oh, no, he didn't have a moment by the looks of it. It just looks like he had a very slow moment that the software thought he'd gone and had a little bit of an incident. But Chad Bear leading away as we're going to be getting under green very, very shortly, no doubt. And then we get these boys back up and running. Not long to go here at all, Brad.
No, we're lap 77 of 120. I'd say we'll be lap 79 of 120 when we cross. So 41 laps to go in this race. And it's moved pretty smooth for the most part. Just this one caution so far. And, I mean, the guys have kept pretty consistent, pretty comfortable. We watched 3 wide racing for a little bit earlier on from the leaders, which is, yeah, I wasn't expecting that on lap 15 of this race. But they settled things in. Everybody set into their long run game and kept things going. And now we just need to set up for a final 41 lap run, which is more than doable for these guys, but also you and me know the old saying, cautions breed cautions. So as long as everyone keeps their wits and their heads about them, and these 13 guys, 14 guys on track, keep it moving, we should see a good race develop here.
Yeah, we should do. We should do. I think these last sort of 42 laps are going to be at a bit of a humdinger. Did Oliver Turan go in? He did. Good move there, sir. Perezzini, Harmon went in as well. Harcum, so everybody. We're at clean slate stages once more here, Brad, as we're on lap 78, going to be going green shortly. Chad Bear going to get us underway on the way down to that back stretch as we're just waiting for the remaining cars to catch up. You can see them on the track map. They'll be there very, very shortly. So they will be catching up to the pace car, because the pace car is going in this time around. And then we're going to be green racing for the next 42 laps. I can't see anything drastic happening again after that, apart from Perezzini and Turan, who really need to get their laps back.
Yeah, they need to find a way to move forward, and they may if we see any more green flag stops, but I wouldn't think so, because that should be a smooth run to the end. Chad Bear gets away very quickly, didn't even think about the field in the background, and he is gone already. Gap almost 3/4 of a second before we even hit the entrance to turn 1 here. And back in the back, it's Creedler and Harcum battling side by side, with Creedler on the inside, Harcum to the outside, and Kyle Gresh also keeping very, very close to that battle.
Yeah, he's just trying to keep it nice and honest, isn't he, Gretsch? Trying to stay there with Harcum, because he knows that he needs to try, if anything, get in front of Harcum, because it is them two at the front of the championship. You know, there is only 2 points between them, and this is round 11. We've got 12, 13, 14. We've only got 3 rounds to go after this one. So every point is going to matter this going forward, isn't it? And it's important for them to stay beside each other.
Yeah, it really is. Gloves will come off as the season gets to the dying stages. These guys are friends, but I'm just telling you right now, if you can get the bragging rights of getting a championship, you're gonna want it. And friendship can be solved, but losing the championship cannot. So expect Kyle Gresh to get a little bit more aggressive in the racing as this race goes and as the season goes, for trying to find his way through. And watch Thumbsticks here. Thumbsticks is going to slowly work his way back up here against Matt Harmon. There we go. I know my drivers. Trying to go around here the inside. Thumbsticks is going to just send it up the inside, happy as you please, and move his way up into P6.
Yeah, he's just cruising along, aren't they, really? I think that's the thing. The field bunched back up after that last round on the yellow. And now they're just absolutely cruising. Creedler, Harcum, Bear with Carl Gretsch behind. And then you got Corey, Merritt, Harmon, Crutchley, Ward, Fisher, Kress, all on the same part of the racetrack. Slowly dropping Carl St. Jean, who really doesn't want to get out of that draft. Ward Fisher is there with a lapped car. Matt Perezzini, Crutchley's in the mix. But it is going to be, can Creedler upset the apple cart and take that position away from Carl Gretsch?
Hey, good job for John Creedler. Keep it up there. Kyle Gresh needs to just move forward a little bit. I think Kyle Gresh is playing it a little conservative here. We're lap 83 or 120. I think he's playing a little conservative. I think he's going to wait till about 20 to go to really turn that knob, turn up the heat, and get things moving. But he just wants to stay right in the mix. But that number 99 car there of Creedler is in a very, very good position of P3, a very comfortable looking P3 too, as John Creedler seems to really like this track from what I've seen here. We haven't talked about him a bunch today, but he's sitting in P3 and is pretty consistent on pace with the cars around and seems to just be pretty comfortable there. I don't see anything too crazy happening. He's faster than Kyle Gresh. He's on pace with Ben Harcum and Chad Bear the last couple of laps. So this should be interesting to watch and see where Creedler finds himself.
Al Corey trying to stick with Tyler Merritt, Matt Harmon, and Crutchley's in there as well, the number 48 machine, as these guys are on lap 85, coming up to the last 35 remaining. And only one caution here, which is, well, it's not unprecedented anymore when we watch the triple bypass, boys, is it, Brad, that we have this scenario where they're sort of one caution deep?
If I remember, my first experience with triple bypass was a completely caution-free Talladega race. If I remember correctly, James, the first broadcast that I did here on JP Broadcasting was Talladega triple bypass, and there wasn't a single caution, and my jaw was to the floor. I did not expect it, and those guys did it. It's not unusual for these guys to have some of the cleanest racing that you'll see in an iRacing league, because they have that respect for each other, they have that drive, and they all have that skill and that knowledge. They know when to push, they know when not to, they know what they can get away with and what they can't, and it's just that inherent skill that they have, and that is why these races go so clean for them, because they don't take unnecessary risk.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? They don't, and they won't, and they never have. I think it's all about realizing that, okay, he can get past me now, but I might get him back in 5 laps, or the pit stop cycle or something, where you go into an official and there's a guy who wants to throw a block at you within lap 5, and you've still got 70 more to go, and he wonders why he's put you in the wall. You know what I mean? It's different styles, isn't it? Different capabilities, different mentalities here, Brad. And that's why the racing here on the triple bypass is as clean as it is.
I will tell you, if you truly want to hone your racecraft and you want to become the best person on iRacing that you can be in terms of whatever your preferred car is, and you say, I want to master this car. For me, it's open wheel modifieds, right? Find a league that runs that and runs consistently, and is a group of guys that you get along with, a group of drivers that you get along with that will take you under your wing and teach you. That is exactly what this league is, because I don't know if you remember, James, but Twin Ring Motegi, they ran through, and at the end of the race, you know, you were doing post-race interviews and talking, and they're like, yeah, you've got to do this, and you said, oh wait, I was supposed to be doing this. You know, these guys will help teach you and kind of help you learn the cars and the tracks and get better at what you're doing. And that is the beauty of leagues here in iRacing. You find a good league that you can work with in the car you like, in the cars you like, and it makes iRacing so much more enjoyable. Forget all the fun about trying to have 10,000 I rating and a 5.0 A-rated license and a pro license and this and that. Just enjoy sim racing. That is truly what this is about.
Oh, so you said I'm not going to go from 1K to 5K in a day then?
I mean, you can try that, but you're going to have the most boring time of your life, because you're going to start from the pit lane, not qualify, and just cruise around 5 seconds off the pace, and then be confused when you join an official session and then get wrecked.
No. I'm better than that. Kind of. Not by much.
You probably are, James. You are, but you are the exception, not the rule.
Well, yeah, I've always been the exception, not the rule, Brad, partly because there's an Englishman on a NASCAR race. So, you know, I don't mind being the exception. But otherwise, I wouldn't be here with you, dear sir, would I?
Yeah, that is very true. And I'll tell you who is somewhere with someone. It is Ben Harkham and Chad Baer that are running up here. This is the battle for the lead. It's closed down to about 1/10 of a second here, because it looks like Chad Baer's tires have found the proverbial cliff and dropped off somehow, which I don't know how, because we're only lap 92 of 120, and he pit on lap 73. So he should have a little bit more life in those tires than he does.
Yeah, I think they're both generally around about the same amount, 73 and 75. So I think going forward, they're going to have about as much as they are. But Harkham's has had enough of Chad Baer and has now gone into the front, leaving Creedler and Gretsch with Merritt to battle it out, as Baer's looking at coming back under the inside. It's starting to get a little bit more spicy here, Brad. 26 on the clock.
26 to go, but remember, the more that Chad Baer and Ben Harkham battle, the more that opens the door for John Creedler and Kyle Gresh to start closing that gap. So watch that gap with Creedler. Wow, I can't talk at 10 o'clock at night, apparently. And watch that gap close down as we run long here, and as these two battle, and they keep each other side by side on corner exit, corner entrance, in the middle of the tri-oval. We're going to see Creedler start to just slowly creep his way back in. It's like if you're fishing bass on a lake. You throw out the fly and you just slowly reel it in, try to get the fish's attention. Then all of a sudden you just yank, you reel real fast, and you got you a nice bass, a nice open mouth bass, large mouth bass that you can take and cook through. And then if you're Creedler, that represents a race win. Here's the gap. It's 1.4. He's continuing to run, and he's keeping things going and just nice and relaxed here. And again, Kyle Gresh is going to start getting a little bit closer as well, James. They're going to keep things going as best they can here. But again, the more these two run side by side, the more it opens the door for more battles for them.
Well, we've got 25 to go. So, saying that though, Harkham did come off the wall there, so the right side of that car as he goes 1.1 now back to Creedler. They need to settle in again and get that back out, didn't they? Because they've brought the gap right the way down from about 1.7.
Yeah, gap's 1.3, and it's still slowly closing. I think John Creedler has just kind of opened the pace a little bit. We're now down in that 24 to go. That ticker on the top is transitioned from lap number to numbers to go. So this is going to be where I think if we start seeing some people push, it's now. And really, Kyle Gresh needs to move his way up because remember, as you mentioned earlier, James, it's all about the points here as we hit. This is race 11 of 14, and they're separated by 2 points. Kyle Gresh, you need to finish ahead of Ben Harkham. You need to keep your championship chances alive a bit more and keep it a bit easier on yourself. And you see Ben Harkham goes low there. He gets a little wiggly there into the entry of one, and that is going to open up the door for Chad Bear. Chad Bear is now going to try to pull out a bit of a gap, but again, Creedler is just that much closer.
Yeah, 1.2 seconds back at the moment. We've got 23 on the clock here from Nashville Superspeedway here in Tennessee. Great action from these guys. It's been quite in conjunction to most other races or most other NASCAR races that we've seen. It's been quite a bland one, and it doesn't mean it's not without its spice. It's just been a bit bland, doesn't it? It's been knocking off the laps here, these guys. And I think within the next probably 3 or 4 laps, hopefully, Creedler, Gretsch, maybe even Merritt might get onto the scene to battle with Harkham and Bear up front. But for now, it is Bear and Harkham all on their own as they're going over the start-finish line. Tyler Ruelas, I'm glad I did not do this race. I would have had flashbacks from Thursday. Didn't go so well for Mr. Ruelas, did it, if I remember correctly?
It didn't. And, you know, James, I will tell you right now, I prefer races like this as opposed to a couple weeks ago. There was a race at Phoenix that I was on and ran for 3 hours, 150 laps at Phoenix. Took them 3 hours with 36 caution periods. Over half the race was ran under caution. So I much prefer the style that we do at Triple Bypass here, where it is just straight running and going through maybe one caution here, one caution there. These guys keep it very, very interesting without any of the need for a crash and totaling out virtual cars.
I can imagine. Was that Saturday?
That was a Saturday, yes, sir.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can imagine. That would have been a long one, even for me. Creedler getting it down, and now he's at 7 tenths behind Ben Harkham, 4 tenths back from Carl Gretsch. They're only 1.89 between Gretsch and Bear at the front of the field as they're going into the last 20 here. 19 on the clock at the Beer Box 120, sponsored by our main man himself, Mr. Sid Keshishian, who cannot be here this evening, unfortunately, but he is sponsoring today's race. So incredible job from him, and well done to him, young sir. So there we go. 18. Do we think Bear's going to lose this with 18 to go? I can't see it personally.
The only way Chad Bear loses this with 18 to go is if something happened with fuel and he runs out of fuel, which I don't see happening because they pit more than halfway, and I don't think fuel's an issue after you hit the halfway point as long as you put enough in. 2, his tires fall off a absolute cliff and open up the door for Ben Harkham and John Creedler and Kyle Gretsch to catch up. Or his tires fall off an absolute cliff, he loses all the handling in the car, and he discovers a Nashville introduction of a wall. I don't see any of that happening, though.
No, and if it does, if any of that happens, please direct all DMs to Bradley Dalton in the Triple Bypass Discord. That has nothing to do with me on that one, Brad.
Yeah, listen, I'm just stating facts of possibilities. I am not causing those to happen. I am not speaking them into the universe.
Oh, you just
But
did.
yes, you can direct everything to me in a DM, and I will more than happily tuck my tail and run.
Or just ignore the DM and go and hide under a rock. So there we go. As we've got Brad Kress and the Matt Harmon in front. These guys wiggling around for 6 and 7 currently. There's a few that are out. Jean, Kane, Barton and Cat. Cat never took to the start. Barton went out early after thumping a wall. So unfortunately for him, he's just gone and thumped the wall. And it looked like Carl St. John has just been off the side of the circuit. That's going to snap in. That's one way of entering into the pit lane. Is he going to be able to stop that car? And is he going to come out properly? Just ride it straight. Ride it straight. There we go. As Carl St. John does come back on, but no caution called, and he went back into the pits. But Harmon and Kress having a right little ding-dong with 14 to go.
At 14 to go here, and it is Kyle and Kress here. It is Kress and Matt Harmon that are running through. I'm thinking of Kyle Gresh for some reason when I say Kress, but they are side by side here, and you can see that Matt Harmon trying to have a bit of a run here up the inside, trying to thinking about it, wanting to run that Chevrolet Dodge around and get it through. And yes, I said the Chevrolet Dodge because he's got that beautiful Dodge livery on that number 9. However, all of these Gen 4s are Chevys, so I gotta pretend a little bit. Chevy Dodge. And he gets it through. So again, Brad Kress holding on at the moment, just a little bit on Matt Harmon as best he can, keeps things moving. The other big thing I'm kind of seeing here, James, is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place are very, very close to each other there. You can get all 3 of them in one camera shot. Harcum, Creedler, and Gresh very close to each other. So as we hit 12 to go, Creedler and Gresh are going to start opening things up. I don't think they can get to Chad Baer if Chad Baer just drives a nice, consistent race. But hey, P2 is still on the charts for a possibility for them as we continue going.
Yeah, Baer and Harcum are the only ones who have not lost or gained a position throughout the race. They are literally where they started. So for Harcum and Baer, it's vitally important they try and do the same with 11 to go here. With Creedler and Gretsch are not far back. Harcum needs to keep Gretsch behind him for the championship, if nothing else, to take it close going into the last 3 rounds.
Yeah, keeping it close in the last 3 rounds is going to be very important because anything can happen in the last 3 rounds here of the league. And if anything does happen, as anything can and will, it will create a lot of chaos for these guys moving forward, especially with the championship implications of it being this close, this far to the end of the season here. And as I try to look to see exactly what schedule is from here, it's Kern County, Kansas Speedway, and Richmond Raceway. Richmond Raceway, that's going to be a very, very good one to see. I'm excited to see how they guys finish that out. I'd love to see a close championship race going into Richmond Raceway.
Yeah, I agree. I think close racing and close championship fights is always good, isn't it? Let's be real about it. And this has been quite an interesting race, really, in conjunction. Bear's just kind of done a job. Harcum's gone after him with Creedler and Gretsch. Merritt, who was at the front there, who was Brad's pick to take the win when we were talking in the green room, has not done so well since that second round of pit stops there. Brad is on lap 7. He's in 5th place. He pitted down on 72, and we've only got 9 to go.
Yeah, Thumbsticks just hasn't been able to capitalize tonight like he did on Thursday, and I don't have a good answer for why, to be honest. Kind of just looking at the stats, looking at everything, I don't know exactly what it is with Thumbsticks that's gotten him stuck. I think it's just a case of that car and maybe just his driving style isn't the best for traffic here. But I'll tell you what, Creedler up the inside here of Ben Harcum. John Creedler up into second place with 8 to go. He made the lunge. He saw the hole. He took advantage. And there we go, 8 to go. And Ben Harcum gets very wiggly, smacks the wall, has it for lunch and dessert and dinner. And now he is going to have to settle back a little bit. Kyle Gresh, if you're going to make a move up, you need to do it now.
Yeah, Harcum's losing tires. He's losing tires, 75. Don't forget he had taken 2 stops. He's just gone 45 on one set here. And it's looking like he is on the verge of being in third place. I wonder if he can hang on and keep that third place, or whether or not this man, Mr. Sexy, will trip himself over on YouTube. Google that and have a look. Whether or not he's going to come and get him, but it's going to be very close here up front. And at the moment, Chad Bear out in front, leading the way, with Creedler and Harcum battling away for the final podium places. 6 to go here, Brad. Been an interesting one, hasn't it, really, this evening?
It has been, even though it's been a very clean race with only one caution caused by Pericini doing some Pericini pirouettes on his own. But even then, it's been very good competitive racing through. 3 wide battles on lap 15. Everybody keeping it nice and clean through. Nobody doing anything that I have to sit back and question and say, well, what was he thinking later? So good racing all the way through as we hit 5 to go here. And at the moment, you know, Chad Bear has 2.25 seconds up in the lead, and Creedler and Harcum are right here neck and neck. This is the big battle to watch. This P2 is going to settle up, but Kyle Gresh is still starting to close up on these guys who's within half a second, so he's not that far out of the realm of possibility to see Kyle Gresh get on the back of Ben Harcum here. 4 to go at the line.
Yeah, 4 on the clock now, and it's looking like Bear is going to take this. He's got 4 more. It's going to be 3 coming around this time. Can Creedler hang on from Harcum? Is Gretsch all of a sudden going to get there? Well, you can just about see them in one shot. There they are, the 3 cars battling away. It's 3 to go now. And Chad Bear's only got 3 on the clock. He can't be stopped now, surely, can he?
No. No, there's no way. 3 on the clock, and he just needs to cruise. He could run half a second a lap slower and still keep his race lead. He could run almost a second a lap slower and still keep his lead for the most part, because again, it's one thing to catch, it's another pass. So he could really tone it down here just to secure it. Ben Harcum, another tap of the wall there. He gets a little loose. Kyle Gresh, you're losing your chances, buddy, here. 2 to go as we cross the line, and at this point, it is Creedler and Harcum that we are watching the battle with. And I do see Corey and Kress are back there very close to each other as well, a little bit further back. I'm curious to see what comes out of that battle as well. If anything, these guys seem to know that it's 2 to the end. I don't think anyone really has tires left. I don't think anyone has a lot left to give here.
I don't think they do. Final lap. Chad Bear coming over the line. Creedler and Harcum. Harcum really could do with getting past. Let's see. He could do with really getting past, but I just don't think he's got any form of natural grip underneath him here, Brad, to be able to get past. I think it's going to be near impossible time, but I can tell you one thing. This man has had a great races. He's coming over the line now. Chad Bear wins at Nashville Superspeedway in the Gen 4, does a credible job. Then it was Creedler, then it was Harcum, then it was Gretsch. Gretsch taking 4th place here with Merrick, Corey, and Kress with Crutchley as they come over the line there. Let's just wait for all the guys to finish. And we will bring you up the results, which is what they have done already. So stellar job from all of these guys. And here are the results. It was Chad Bear out in front with your winner, John Creedler and Ben Harcum, Kyle Gretsch, Tyler Merritt, your top 5. Al Corey, Brad Kress, John Crutchley, Matt Harmon, Ward Fisher. Then we've got Benson, Perezzini, Turan, St. Jean out, Kane out, Barton out, and Derek Catt out as well. But your winner, Chad Bear, doing donuts on the front for us.
And Chad Bear, I mean, I don't know what you say. Started pole, finished first, absolute dominating run through. John Creedler in 2nd place did amazing to get up in the P2. And then Ben Harcum finishing ahead of Kyle Gresh should put him ahead in the championship standings, if only just. But hey, sometimes only just is all you need. We all know the horror stories of championships. Won and lost by a point, a half a point, whatever it may be. You've won and lost races by a 1/10 of a second. So you just have to be ahead. It doesn't matter how far. If you're just ahead, then you get the win there. And so that is how things settle in. James, what do you say we talk to our race winner, Chad Bear, here and see how Chad Bear feels, if Chad Bear is around?
Yeah, let's see if I can find him. I can't. It's not in the chat room.
Let's see. Who do we got? We got John Creedler, it looks like, in the chat room. Wonder if we can have a chat
with John.
Hey, John, it's Bradley. How are you, my friend?
Doing good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Talk to me about your race there. Started out P5, finished up P2. That battle through the end with Ben seemed to go on forever.
I was playing the long run, so I didn't have the speed for either one of them, to be honest with you. So I was just playing the long game.
Oh, I got you. Playing the strategy game, and it seemed to have worked for you. Is that something that, you've kind of thought about before and you sat and you look at? Or is it something that you just kind of came up with in the moment and it just happened to work?
Just came up with it. I was really just planning on 2 pit stops, 40 laps each, and the yellow kind of messed that strategy up a little bit. So at that point, it was just go as fast as I could, but try to save as much as I could.
And John, Nashville Superspeedway. We call it Nashville Superspeedway, but does it drive like a true superspeedway, or what's the big thing, the big difference with this track that makes it that not superspeedway but superspeedway?
Well, I think Chad and Ben would be better at answering that. But, for me, it was just, it's kind of a mid-sized track, right? It's kind of between a big track and a small track. So you just got to hit your marks, really, and try to save. I always just try to save as much as I can.
Awesome. And then, John, anyone you want to shout out, anyone you want to thank, the floor is yours for just a moment.
Ben, for letting me pass him.
I will be sure to pass along the message, John. Thank you, sir. And I look forward to seeing you next week in Kern County.
Appreciate all you do, Bradley. Appreciate it.
All right. See you, John. All right. What do you say we talk to Ben Harkham then? Ben, I was told to pass along a message from John Creedler, and he said, thanks for letting me pass you.
Yeah, I knew he had a little bit more tire than me, so I figured I'd let him get that second place. I burned my stuff up, like usual.
Yeah, Ben, kind of tell me about the challenges of this Nashville Superspeedway with the concrete surface. It's rough on tires, it seems.
It really is. It is really rough. It's hard to save tires. I tried my best to do it. I did a little bit the first run we had going, but I didn't do so good the second run.
Ben, do you think there was anything you could have done to keep John Creedler behind there on the long run? You seem to have pace, and it didn't seem like he really got past you till the end. Do you think you could have kept him behind in any way?
If I did, I'd be blocking like a madman. I didn't want to do that.
And last question for you. Looking at championship implications, we just have a couple of races left here in the season, and you and Kyle Gresh are neck and neck. What can you do to secure the championship?
Try to go get me a win next week and battle it out all the way to the end.
Awesome. And Ben, anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out, the floor is yours, my friend.
Big shout out to y'all for broadcasting these races for us. Shout out to everybody on the league owner side of Triple Bypass Racing. They do a wonderful job with these races. And a big shout out to Dr. Pepper. We only have a few people here that like it, so that's what I'm going to drink.
Oh, dude.
Yes. Thank you, Ben Harkham.
Ben, no. I was rooting for you.
You don't like it?
No, I'm not a lover of it, dude. I was rooting for you as well.
You can still root for me.
No, but now I know that you like Dr. Pepper. Me and you, it's all gone south.
What's wrong with Dr. Pepper?
Oh, never mind.
James, we'll have to debate this later. Ben, I appreciate you, friend, and we'll see you next week at Kern County, okay?
All right, y'all have a good one.
Good you, man. Well, there you go. I can't get hold of the leader. Not totally sure where Chad Bear... Oh, no, he's there now. Chad Bear is in your voice chat. So, there we go, Brad. Your winner, Mr. Chad Bear.
Chad Bear, domination on the weekend. Starts on pole, finishes on... I'd say finish on pole, but finishes in P1 and rounds it out from last week as well, where he won. So, kind of tell me about your Sunday. Was it a nice little Sunday stroll for you, Chad?
It definitely wasn't easy, but that's a fun race. That's a good combo. That car and that track are super, super fun. I had a great time racing Ben. Hopefully that come across good on the broadcast, because it was very intense. And Tyler, we all raced really hard and really clean throughout that. That was a fun race.
Yeah, did you watch the broadcast Thursday night where Thumbsticks won? And did you take anything from Thursday night's race to bring into tonight to try to win?
I would like to say that I would like to lie to you and say that I watched all the broadcasts you all do, because I do like what you do, but I did miss that one. But no, I was taking notes from him when he was in front of me there. I don't know, through the first and the second run, he kind of shorted me in that second run and was in front of me. I was taking notes on what he was doing. He's good. He's really good at it.
Yeah, what was your plan going in for pit strategy? I know the caution mixed a lot of people up, but if we had went green the whole way, was it pit every 40 laps, 30 laps? What were you thinking?
Yeah, every 40 laps was definitely going to be the strategy, because I think, on a tank, you could go like 51 or 52 laps. So it wasn't close enough to stretch it to 60, to cut the race in half. So the plan was to, divide it up into thirds, and Tyler he undercut me that first run, and then he undercut me on the second one too. I can't remember how much it was, but it was by quite a bit. I think we were going to have to run like 47 or 48 laps to the end on that last run. And then the caution come out while we were on pit road. I thought for sure we were all screwed on that one. And honestly, I don't know how it worked out that I come out in the lead off of that. I will have to go back and look at that.
Yeah, it was a very interesting one there. And of course, last question, as always, anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shout out, the floor is yours, my friend.
Appreciate Sid for sponsoring the race. Wish he would have raced with us. I don't know. He's stuck up these days, I guess. I don't know. But appreciate you all putting on the broadcast. I'm sure it was great like usual. And thanks to Al and everybody else with the triple bypass bunch for letting me come out and race with them, man. It's fun as hell. I enjoy it immensely.
And we enjoy watching it.
All right, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Chad. And we'll see you next week. All right, James. I'll tell you what, I think that was a good little Sunday night race here from Nashville.
I agree. I think it was. And now, Brad, after spending more time with you than I do with my wife today, I think it's time we wrap this one up. It's been a pleasure having you all along for the ride here as we covered the triple bypass. Beer Box 120, sponsored by Sid Keshishian, and a massive shout out to him. Don't forget, if you do want to get yourselves involved, 5 nights of racing, of course, at the triple bypass. Sunday, Gen 4, Tuesdays, late models, Wednesdays, road racing, Thursdays, Xfinity, and Fridays, road racing as well. But that's going to wrap it up from all of us up here in the JPB booth. I've been James Parfitt, been alongside Bradley Dalton, and as always, guys, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.
Thank you.